Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video on the artist philosophy, where we talk about how you can improve the creativity and clarity of your work. One of the most difficult tasks as a creative is evaluating the ideas that you have. Basically, some ideas you have are going to be better than others, but it's very difficult to tell, in embryo, I guess, whether these ideas are going to live up to their expectations. An example of this is with my first album. I spent hours and hours on a certain track. What actually happened is the first track, it ended up not being too great of an idea, and so even though I spent hours of work on it, the end product was not satisfactory to me or to my target audience. And so the difficulty here is that sometimes we spend a lot of time on a bad idea and not very much time on a good idea. So then the question becomes, how do we come up with good ideas, and how can we evaluate the fitness value of a certain idea so that we can know which ones to pursue and which ones to leave behind? One of the lenses that has really helped me in this particular question is actually a biological Darwinian perspective. So if you compare ideas to organisms, ideas are very similar. In evolutionary history, pretty much 99% of all organisms failed to reproduce and therefore failed to propagate themselves into the future. And ideas are very similar. You can imagine that most ideas, something like 99%, aren't very great. And so this perspective has helped me because it radically altered what is required of me in order to generate a good idea. Similar to evolution, a very select few of ideas are successful. And so one of the ways evolution has dealt with this is by creating lots of diverse organisms and different ideas on what a biological creature is, right? Especially if you think of like insects, right? There's just millions of types of insects. Lots of diversity. Evolution is basically, it's playing with all these ideas to try to figure out what is the most successful insect. Insects are highly successful as a group of biological organisms. So the idea here is we want to kind of be like evolution in the sense that we want to generate as many ideas as we can manage in the hopes that one of those ideas are going to be more successful and hopefully radically successful, right? And so one of the best ways you can do this is through daily work. Every morning I try to generate a new idea. For me, it's writing. And it could be a small idea, it could be a big, kind of grand idea. But whatever it is, I'm at least generating something new every single morning. It could be an idea for my business, it could be an idea for a blog post or for a video. But whatever it is, I am spending 10 minutes every morning just writing. And this has helped me a lot because a lot of these ideas that I've come up with over like a 6-month period, which is when I really started to get into these habits, have fallen by the wayside. However, some of them have started to catch my attention in my mind, and I think about them more often than the others. So I guess the first filter, the first signal that you have for knowing whether an idea is good is, does it capture your mind? Often we think that we're the ones thinking things, but in reality, our minds are getting captured by things that interest us. And when we're captured by something that interests us, we should really pay attention to that. And that's sort of the first signal that there is something to this idea. If there's a Darwinian process happening in our minds every day, right? And it's happening with what we choose to spend our attention thinking about. Thinking is something like letting ideas die instead of us, right? So we project into the future an environment and a pattern of action, and we test if that pattern of action with the given simulation is going to be successful. Does it lead to the attainment of a certain value? And so and essentially that is what an idea is it's a pattern of action that is simulating its success or failure. And when we simulate that pattern of action and we see that it's going to fail, that idea sort of dies. But then you can imagine that some ideas we simulate and we see that it succeeds, and they're like, well, what if we add a little variation, right? Simulate it again, we see that it succeeds even more. So in this sense, creative ideas will start to show their success in their propagation through time inside of your mind. And that is your first indication, your first signal that one of your ideas as a creative is a little bit more successful than another one. With these daily habits, you're generating lots of ideas, right? You're more likely to come up with ideas that are sort of going to capture your mind and persist in your mind, and you're going to be thinking about these ideas a lot more often. Those are the ideas that you want to pursue and test further. So then the next step in evaluating the fitness value of a creative idea is translating the idea from your mind to a physical medium. That could be a video game, it could be a piece of music, it could be a piece of writing. Whatever the case, you want to translate the idea as soon as possible so that you can send it to a small group of people that you think will like the idea. And when you send it to them, you want to be sure to receive detailed feedback on whether or not the idea is useful, valuable, engaging, interesting, all those things to that small group of people. And this is really a powerful test because often the ideas that are interesting to us we can still be very self-deceived about their merit. And so sending it to a small group of people that is representative in some way of your target audience is a great way to make or break an idea and to signal to you whether or not that, again, is an idea that you should continue to pursue. So if the idea passes this next step, that's when you should take serious consideration of this idea. You should start putting more effort into the idea. You should start completing it, fleshing it out, polishing it, making it into a finished product, let's say. And your final test is whether or not this idea is successful to your broader target audience. So if it fails this test, and you can test this in several ways. You can show your work early online on your social medias. If it falls flat in this sense, then it's time again to let the idea die and hope that you can continue to generate more ideas and find something that is successful on a broader range. However, if it shows success early on with a larger group of people, that is when you know that this idea is an amazing idea and that you should definitely be putting even more work into it. One of the things you do have to balance, though, is sometimes what is successful as an idea or fitness value as an idea isn't interesting to you as an individual. If that happens to be the case, if the idea dies in your mind but lives in the audience that you showed the idea to, maybe you need to select a different audience, an audience that is more like-minded, right? Because ideally, you want the idea to live in your mind and be successful and interesting, engaging, and all those things inside your own mind, while also being highly successful, engaging, and interesting to the people that you are producing the idea for as well. Those are my quick thoughts on how to evaluate the fitness value of an idea as a creative. And essentially, it's a Darwinian process. I like to think about creativity as Darwinism often. Finding good ideas requires testing survivability and 1,000 others. If you're interested in the blog version of this video, there's a link in the description, and be sure to subscribe to that to receive that weekly newsletter. I'm also starting a creativity coaching program. This is a program that I am developing where I can help you with goal setting, with your philosophy, dealing with repressed creativity. It's a one-on-one coaching session between me and you, something like 30 minutes to an hour per week. And I'm super excited to bring this piece of value for you guys. And I know that it will be able to help you along your creative journey and help you to fulfill your potential as an artist. So look out for that in the next video, where I will be talking a little bit more about what this creativity coaching program is. Be sure to subscribe, hit the bell, like and comment on this video, and I'll see you all next time.